We live right now. May 2nd, 2024. We are in the maze, right? That's pretty cool. Uh, I'm doing well. I don't know why I like doing things at the same time when I'm doing these podcasts, but this one actually is helpful to what I want to talk about. So bear with me. Healthy, account healthy. Inventory, all inventory, especially 314. Let's check this out. Variations. Okay, nothing has changed. We're gonna click this one, and this one, and it should say flavor, but it says style still. Style. Okay, style. Okay. So we're in the same place with Amazon. I am going to reach out to my person after I do these podcasts, which is fine. It's cool.
In this video, I'm going to show you.
But yeah, other than that, I'm doing really well. I don't know. It's just because I'm on high with YouTube. Things are looking pretty good. When I checked it yesterday, I was surprised. My latest video is at 700 plus views, which is outrageous to me. Shorts, I get that, but regular videos, interesting. I don't know if people actually watched it. Probably watched the first 30 seconds as they usually do, but it still counts, right? But it's all good. Making fun of myself. I listened to this guy. I'm actually listening to him right now. Well, not really. He started it. I'll listen to it later. He said he got fired from his job, whatnot, but whatever. He said that when people come on YouTube, especially YouTubers, seasoned YouTubers, they just turn it on. They just turn on that personality and all that stuff. And that's true. And he said he hates that. I kind of actually hate it too. But truthfully, that's what you have to do on YouTube. I mean, it's not so much that you're not yourself. You're expressing yourself differently, because, you're talking to people. And at times, people, as much as you're trying to get education and show your personality and all that, I mean, YouTube is still majority to me an entertainment type of place, which is nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. It's just that you have to put on a personality that is above who you are, so to speak. It's who you are. And a lot of times you don't even know that's you. It's kind of like in my case, like I've been doing this for the past week and a half, filming myself daily for about 10 minutes. Most of the time, this material doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't. It's just for me to get better, me to talk in front of the camera, get personal, or even just get more comfortable. Really, that's really what it comes down to. Getting more comfortable in the situation, because I want to be able to present myself in a way to where people are like, oh, okay, that's that person. Okay, I can see him. I can see where they're coming from. I can see their personality. And I think that's more than anything, that's what you're trying to do. You're really just trying to be more so who you are when you're around your friends, your family, close people, and all that stuff. And you want to do that in front of a camera, which is weird, right? Because, as soon as you not so much press play, but upload it to the world, you're going to be judged. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that. And it's a kind of gratifying feeling. YouTube, so many people have talked about it. YouTube really puts you in a place of like humbleness, but also really like how much hard work that you're really doing for something that you don't know where it's going to go. And it's kind of like business too, to an extent. So I think that's why now that I've actually pushed through and been more consistent, posting each and every week, you don't know really where things are going to go. You're hoping for the best. You hope that things are going to get better. But as you keep going and doing things, you know that you have your up days, you have your down days, but you keep pushing through because you know that there could be something better on the other end. And I've talked about this many times, but I'm really enjoying the journey. The journey is very unknown. It's new, and I like to keep it as new as I can, you know. So we'll see what else I learn, how I go about it, and then we're just gonna push through and understand that this is what it is, and this is fun. It's fun most of the time. Sometimes it's not. So next video I do is probably a dud, but we'll see. I don't know, but it's fun doing these actually because every time I do a video, it's different. It's a video, but it's still different, and I'm learning something every time. So I'm looking forward to pushing myself even more so as I go about understanding the things that I'm trying to do, right? So yeah, so that's me. That's me in a nutshell. So I did another video podcast yesterday talking about decaf. I think the decaf gave me a headache last night because I woke up like, what's wrong with my head? What's going on? No, where is this coming from? So we are doing fine right now. But coffee wise, what can we talk about coffee wise? We do have some questions to talk about, which we will talk about soon. But right now, let's just breathe a little bit. Just take our time. You know, I have a sticky note that I have. It's not right next to me. Should probably put it right back. But it's in my desk somewhere. And I put it with all the topics that I have for my podcast and all that stuff. And I call it it's just a sticky note. It just says slow down. So that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say. It also helps with the voice. One thing I've noticed is that you can start to hear yourself. You can psychoanalyze yourself. You're wondering if you're talking too fast, if you don't have enough fluid in your body. So that's what kind of comes out sometimes when you speak and talk and whatnot. And I'm trying to be better about that, you know, at least for me, because I know that's how I sound. Drinking some coffee. I think this is mostly the Peruvian coffee, but it is mixed through because I think I gave a client a little bit too much coffee. So I had to mix in the rest of it, so to speak, whatnot, but it's all good. It's all good in the hood. So yeah. So that's what we got going. Those are some of the things that needs to go on, need to do, and just quite frankly have to understand that I'm in a place in life to where it is about the product, it is about the business. And I think for the most part, I'm redefining what the business is or looks like and all that good stuff. I think that's extremely important that I do this because this is all I got. It's not like doom and gloom, but I've pivoted so many different times. I've explored so many different things. But truthfully, I think the place that I'm in right now is the most critical part because I'm truly, really putting myself out there. I'm being more honest with people. If I could be even more honest with people, I'm letting them in more. I'm showing them the product. And it's pretty cool because that's more than what I like to do, right? That's more than what I'm used to doing. I talked about it many episodes before. I'm a misanthrope, whatever it's called. I tend to do things on my own, tend to be a loner. I have so many different things that I like to do on my own. It's not even funny. And when people call and want to hang out, I'm always like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. I'm just that person. But putting yourself out there in the world to your people, it's interesting because nobody's doing that back to you. Either you may see a reply or a like or dislike or whatnot, but nobody's really putting themselves out there like you are. And I've seen that before. I've truly, really seen that before, right? Where other YouTubers or content creators or people in general are the ones who are 100% sharing. Even when you have guests coming on from time to time, it's you. You're the one who's putting yourself out there. You're the one who is constantly being vulnerable. And is it therapeutic? I don't know. Is it a little crazy? I'm sure. But that's kind of like the only thing that you're doing right now. And when you do that, I think you do get better. You know, I mean, it could drive you crazy. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who are thinking about mental health and seeing a therapist and all that stuff. I did therapy for a while. I may talk about that in another episode. But it's a real big thing. I can see in my daughter and my son too that they get really affected when you do things to them, like take things away from them, you know? But yeah, you're the only one who's truly really putting yourself out there. And at times, yeah, you'll get feedback from people or you look at the algorithm and stuff like that and try to figure things out, but you're still the one who's putting yourself out there. So that's quite interesting that you're showing who you are. And that's pretty cool. Scary too. But I think I'm of the age of where I'm mature enough to know that's what's going on. But again, that's what I'm talking about, this whole journey thing. The journey thing is you don't really know. You don't know which path you're going on, what you're going to be learning throughout the way, people that you meet, interesting things that you learn about your business that you could get better at. You know, there's a lot of things that you are constantly learning. You know, I'm not even just beyond the soft stuff, the stuff that people see, like the editing videos or showing your personality or coming up with ideas. No, it's more than that. You are being a better person. And it's true. It's no like craziness really about it. And yeah, so and at the end of the day, you're still entertaining people. It's still an entertainment platform because you have to try to get people to stay on there as long as possible, which is bizarre to an extent. I'm always on there. I'm on YouTube Premium and all that good stuff, so I constantly watch videos. Sometimes I need to be entertained. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, so that's kind of like where we're at with that stuff, right? So I don't want to go too much longer 'cause I got stuff to do. Still got to get ready for the day, you know? So let's go ahead and start talking about these questions. Got 3 of them. I thought about them, but I didn't want to talk about them because I am. It's easier to do that when I'm doing these right now. Sometimes I probably will think about it, but here are the questions from one of my clients. I don't like saying my client because I don't own them. I like the client or the follower or the person or the subscriber. My wife, the wife, but it's interesting. I have a weird way of going about things, but okay. The client. I love to follow. Okay, what's the pot? Okay, here we go. Was the flavor? How is it flavored? Coffee flavored. Okay, if you don't know, I do have a couple coffees on my website that are flavored, and I think I start doing flavored coffee. I'll get to answer a question, but because I had another client that loved Stark Roast, and he was trying different coffees at the time, mine's too, and he wanted to see if I can do like a pecan flavored coffee, and I was like, "What the huh? What are you talking about?" So I start researching it, start doing different things, experimenting, giving him some samples, and then we finally hit on something. And he was a customer for another couple more years, you know. But it was a discovery period. And one thing that I learned about the whole flavored coffee game, which is huge, which is really big, is that to me, searching online and looking for it, that's kind of like the discovery part. But I think it's also how do you combine it with the coffee? But to answer her question, it's really simple. It's an extract. It's a type of extract that coats well with coffee. And when it coats well with the coffee, then you're able to actually taste it, especially when you have, to me, a beverage that is that adds like milk, sugar, creamer or whatnot, half and half, because that's how you really get the flavors to me. Because I've tasted it a couple times black and it kind of works, but since I know that I put this particular flavor on it, it 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 messes with my mind, and I say I do taste it, but truthfully I don't really taste it. Only when I have it in a drink that's like a coffee drink, so to speak. But it's an extract. It's a type of extracts. They have them different places and they have different chemicals actually around them. So you have to watch out for that. But it's like when you go to the store and you get a vanilla extract. That's as simple as it can be. But a lot of times those store-bought extracts, they don't really work very well because they don't really stick to the coffee, coat the coffee well. And after you grind it, it kind of just washes away. So you have to use a different type of extract to really hold and bind onto the coffee. So that's kind of like where it's flavored. That's how it's flavored actually. It's not actually flavored from the coffee. Coffees do have natural taste, but let's just call it what it is. A lot of times when you deal with coffees, especially with a Brazilian coffees, and this is where I'm getting at right here, is that they do have a natural taste. But a lot of times when people associate coffees, they're associating it with just a coffee taste, coffee diner type of coffee. They're not talking about like an Ethiopian coffee or a wild Colombian coffee that tastes like exotic and fruity and something that you never thought that coffee could taste like. And I think that's part of the other battle or equation is actual coffee. So when you get an extract or pair extract with a coffee, it's even more important that you pair it with a coffee that is as neutral as possible. Because at the end of the day, you want to taste the extract with the coffee, right? It's kind of like a balancing act. So to me, the more critical part really is getting a coffee that's a base that doesn't really interfere with the taste of the extract. What I usually do, giving all my secrets out, not all of them, but some of them. What I usually do is after I roast the coffee, I tend to let the coffee sit whole beans for like a day or two. That's what I like to usually do, like a day or two, to really let it soak in into the coffee. And then I like to go ahead and grind it up or give it out to the client and go from there. You can add too much extract, you know. You could add, they recommend about eight grams to 1 pound, which isn't a lot. But that's the point. You don't want to taste to be so unnatural to where you're starting to to the point where you're starting to smell like the alcohol, because it does have an alcohol-y type of smell and taste to it if you add too much to it. So again, it's a balancing act, but that's kind of like what that is, you know. So it's not too crazy. That's the way I actually do it. I believe other people do it this way too, you know. And of course, we go about it differently. But no, don't mess around with the flavored coffee people. They are people who like what they like. They love their coffees, and it'd be interesting to see what she thinks about how she actually goes about drinking her coffee, how she supplies it to her customers and clients, because she has a business that she supplies it to them. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually drink it and go about it that way, right? So that's the question. Let's see. Are there advantages to beans over grounds or drip? Okay. I think what she's talking about is like whole beans versus ground coffee. And that's another episode that I will talk about. Ground coffee drinkers and whole bean drinkers. They're totally different people. Same with light, medium, and dark roast people. They're totally different, right? And I will love to talk about that. That'll be so interesting. But yeah, there are advantages. Coffee does tend to stay longer, last longer when it's whole beans. I was really anal about it in the very beginning of my journey, to where I would like literally like brew my coffee, whole beans. It will last about three, it will last about 2 weeks at most. And I can taste how it changed. But, you know, after a while, especially that I roasted myself, is it's about a month now, about a month and a half that I keep the coffee. I mean, I just don't throw it out. I just use it for other stuff, right? Batch brew it, whatnot, donate it, whatnot, if it's way past that time, you know. But whole beans gives you the ability to make it to allow it to be as fresh as possible, as long as possible, right? That's the benefit really of the whole beans, is that you can really push the freshness of the coffee as much as possible. And that's pretty cool, right? And and I think that's really cool that you can actually do that, because you bought something, you want to preserve it as long as possible. But truthfully, a lot of times, even ground coffee, to an extent, it's a convenience thing more than anything. And it, if you drink it within a certain period, it's really not that bad. It's really not. So, I kind of go back and forth between what is good, what's not, what makes sense, and all that good stuff. But I actually prefer whole beans. But ground coffee is okay. It really is. It's more convenient. You just pull out the bag, you go. Don't get me wrong, the freshness does go a lot faster. It really does. Would you notice that? That's the thing about it. Would you truly really notice the quality going bad that much? Majority of people do get coffee that's ground, and that's perfectly fine. But if you already get ground coffee, and and especially if you're dealing with a roaster that gives you fresh coffee, right? So at least you know for sure that that person roasted it relatively recently. So as he roasts it very recently, you know for sure that you are in a place that makes sense, right? That actually does make sense to people. And they know that you're still getting it a lot fresher than the grocery stores. And that's the benefit of dealing with a person like me, my business, whatnot, is that it's still fresher than a lot of things that you deal with. So it's kind of like a skewed type of way of looking at things. But it does make sense, because you know that for the most part that you are getting something a lot fresher than the grocery store, But yeah, so that's kind of like it in a nutshell. It's where you can go about getting the best quality as you can. So even if you do go ground, make sure you get it as freshly as possible, because in the grocery store, you don't know how long it's already been there. That's one of the things that I'm like fighting with as I go into Amazon, but I think that's going to actually be my advantage, is because I won't give them as much coffee. Once we start running low, I'll go ahead and start doing another batch to roast and get out there to them, because it's going to be as fresh as possible. I know a lot of roasters or companies on Amazon, they just put their coffee on there, especially if it's ground. And you don't really know how long it's going to be on there. But since I'm a actual smaller batch roaster, I can give the coffee to them as freshly as possible, and then kind of keep it going that way. So yeah, so that's kind of like what we got going with that. But there is advantages in whole beans. I do understand that, it's one of these things with coffee. It's like once you start going down that rabbit hole, you start thinking, okay, I got my coffee, got my good coffee. All right, what's next? Okay, I need a coffee maker. Oh, need a grinder. Which grinder to get? It's like, oh man, this stuff is expensive. So I do get it from that point of view. That buying all this equipment for what? To get just a little bit better. That's kind of like the things that we're kind of going through right now, kind of helping people through. So I think I answered the question. So it kind of depends, but I do prefer, me personally, whole beans, because it does last a little bit longer, a lot longer actually, compared to ground coffee, because then once you grind it, that's when the quality or the freshness of the coffee starts to go down. That's another topic another day. What is freshness? What does that really mean? Right? All right. Got one more question. Can you speak to the belief that coffee is unhealthy for you? Is there a threshold? As I sip my coffee right now, I am one of the rare peoples that actually have 1 cup of coffee a day. And it's not a big cup of coffee. It is a 8-ounce glass of coffee, like 200 grams of coffee. 8 ounce. Yeah, 8 ounce. About 6 times 30. So it's closer to six. About six. About 6 ounces. So that's about 200 grams of coffee. I like working in grams. Okay, so am I normal? No, I'm not normal. I know there's many people out there that has 2, 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee. And I don't think coffee is inherently bad. I really don't. Um, it's kind of like more so like what you do with it, you know? If Because think about it, if even if you have, like, let's say you have 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, and let's just say that you drink it as pure as possible, as black, you're still gonna have some issues to an extent because that's a lot of caffeine, right? And I don't know, it's just because I'm getting older or that my system of drinking coffee has changed because I did used to do like 2 cups a day, 2 or 3 cups a day, and then I'll drink some in the afternoon and I had no problems going to sleep. But now that I just literally for real just drink 1 cup a day, probably sometimes two, is yeah. So it can still affect you, like how you go about your day. It makes you more alert to me, not so much in the morning because I drink it all the time, but in the afternoon because it's not as consistent. But I think having 4 to 5 cups a day should be really the limit, really 2 to 3, because that's after a while you're just drinking caffeine. If you're just drinking caffeine and no water throughout your day, that's kind of like a thing it will affect you. Your body will get used to it, and then I think that you won't be able to go to sleep. That's the really biggest thing. Yes, is caffeine inherently bad? No, it's not. But there is a limit to everything, right? But that's I'm talking about as pure as it comes as black coffee. But a lot of times people do have additives on there. And then when they have additives, they have either creamer. Creamer is about, I weighed it. I don't weigh it anymore because I don't have it a lot when I do have creamer. But creamer, if you're being conservative with your amount, you can get away with about 50, 60 calories of creamer. But normally people do about 150, 150 calories of creamer with their coffee. So you times that by 4, that's 600. That's 600 calories. Just that alone in your daily allotment, right? And then I'm just talking about creamer. Creamer is probably the worst case scenario. You got milk or whole milk or creamer or cream, half and half. Those are not too bad, but they'll still add calories. So if you have a lot of coffee throughout the day, depending on how much coffee that you do have, I think it's more detrimental that way than it being what it is as a pure form. But there's a limit though. I think there's a limit. I think 2 to 3 a day is where you want to be at. You know, if it just helps you get through the day, it is what it is. Like I used to bitch to my wife all the time about how much drinking she did. She doesn't drink that much right now, but she used to drink like a whole wine all the time, whole bottle of wine, 750 milliliters, the whole damn thing, all night. And it used to piss me off. But then I started looking at her and she was happy. Person was happy. So it is what it is. there's always moderation in things, but I think coffee, there is moderation. And since it's not alcohol, it's less of a stigma, but there is a limit to me. I don't think you should be drinking coffee every hour on the hour, you know, even though it is 98% water. It really is close to 98% water. But again, it's a limit to everything. I personally think that people should drink, if they want to drink coffee, 2 to 3 times a day. 4 to 5. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. It really is. I think so. So I think that's the limit right there. 4 to 5. Certain days here and there, you gotta do your thing. You gotta pull it all night. You gotta do things, and it helps you concentrate. I can't knock that. I really can't. Especially if you don't take a lot of pills or whatnot and things like that. So yeah, so those are my answers. I hope that I mostly answer them in a way that I answer things. A lot of times when I answer things, it's like, now I have more questions, and I don't think you answered my question. But thank you. But we'll see. I think I did a decent job. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We're gonna go ahead and do our thing. And that's what we got going. Talk to you later. Bye.